I'm sitting in my apartment at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. My hands are shaking so bad I can barely type. I've just finished reading the 487th blog post my girlfriend wrote mocking my business. And as I'm scrolling through the comments where she's discussing how to financially control me, I realize I have no idea who this person actually is. But here's the crazy part. Just 3 hours earlier, she was lying next to me in bed, telling me she loved me, telling me she believed in my startup. This is the story of how I discovered a 3-year campaign to destroy my confidence while she smiled and played the supportive girlfriend. And what happened next changed everything. Let me take you back to where it all started. Okay, so rewind to March 15th, 2021. That's the day I quit my job. I literally emailed my resignation at 2 p.m. and cried in my car for an hour afterward. I was 27 years old. I'd spent the past 5 years working at a marketing agency. Good salary, like $85,000 a year. Benefits, 401k, everything you're supposed to want. But honestly, I hated it. I was sitting in meetings talking about quarterly reports while having this idea in my head that wouldn't go away. An idea that I genuinely believed could change things. The idea was simple. A platform that helps small businesses automate their customer relationship management without needing to hire an entire team. You know how it is. You're a small business owner. You don't have the budget for a $300 a month CRM software. But you need to track your customers, manage your sales pipeline, automate your emails. So I built something that could do all that for like $50 a month. When I told my parents I was leaving my job, my dad basically had a heart attack. He said, "You're giving up a secure paycheck for a software idea? Have you lost your mind?" And he wasn't trying to be mean. He was genuinely terrified for me. Because that's what good parents do. They get scared when their kids take risks. And honestly, so was I. I was terrified. But I'd spent 5 years watching other people take risks. I'd watched some of them fail. I'd watched some of them succeed. And I realized that I was way more scared of never trying than I was of actually failing. So there I was, 27 years old, $12,347.60 in savings. I remember because I checked my balance obsessively, and a MacBook Pro that was my most prized possession. I started building. I coded every single day, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16-hour days. I was living in a shitty apartment with a roommate named Derek, who was absolutely done with me working on my laptop at 3 a.m. The first 3 months, zero revenue, literally nothing. I launched the beta, sent it to like 200 people, got 0 signups. Month 4, 1 person paid, $50. One guy named Marcus Chen from Portland gave me $50 for my software, and I felt like I'd won the lottery. I actually screenshot that transaction and printed it out. Put it on my wall. That's how low the bar was at that point. By month 8, I was averaging like 5 paying customers a month. Nothing crazy, nothing that would make my parents proud. But it was proof of concept. It was working. People ask me now, didn't you ever doubt it? And yeah, I doubted it every single day for the first 9 months. I'd be coding at 4 a.m. and think, "You're so stupid. You gave up 6 figures for this." But there was something in my gut that just wouldn't let me quit. And that's when I met Emma, who seemed absolutely perfect, which in hindsight was the biggest red flag I completely missed. Here's what I mean by perfect. Emma was beautiful, smart, had her shit together. She had a job she actually liked, great friends, family that actually called her. The whole package. We met at a coffee shop near my apartment. I was literally sitting there with my laptop, code on the screen, probably looking like I hadn't showered in 3 days, because, spoiler alert, I probably hadn't. And she just came up and was like, "Hey, what are you working on?" And instead of being like, "Leave me alone, I'm coding," I just started talking. I told her everything. My idea, my vision, my fears about whether it would actually work. I showed her the product, the code, everything, for like 20 minutes straight. And she just listened. Actually listened. Didn't pull out her phone, didn't seem bored. She asked real questions about the business model, about pricing, about how I was planning to scale. And then she said something that genuinely hit different. She was like, "This is actually really cool. I think you could really build something with this. And I was like, oh, okay. Someone smart thinks my idea isn't completely stupid. That felt amazing. So fast forward 3 months, and she asked me to move in with her. Her apartment was nicer than mine, better internet, more space. And honestly, I was broke, so when she was like, hey, you could save money and focus on the business, I was like, absolutely, let's do it. I remember moving my setup into her spare room. She helped me set up a proper desk, a second monitor, better lighting. She was like, you need a real workspace if you're going to build a real company. And I felt so supported, dude. I felt like I'd finally found someone who actually believed in me. Not just like, that's cute, babe, believed in me, but like, actually believed in me. Her friends thought it was cute. They'd be like, oh, Emma's so supportive of his dream. Her family would ask about the business at dinners. Her mom even said once, Emma's been so patient with him while he pursues this. And that word, patient, always felt a little weird. But like I didn't think too hard about it. For the next 2 years, everything seemed perfect. She'd come home and ask about my day. Not just small talk, actual questions. How many users did we get? Did I fix that bug? Are you happy with the new features? And she seemed genuinely interested. But here's where I need to pause and plant something. I realize now that she wasn't asking because she cared. She was asking because she was building a case. I thought I'd won the girlfriend lottery or something. I thought I'd found my person. I was so fucking stupid. It started small. So small I actually thought I was imagining it. We're at her friend Jess's birthday dinner. About 7 people at the table. And Jess asks how the business is doing. I tell her we just hit $25,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And Emma laughs. But not a supportive laugh. It's the kind of laugh where you know someone just thought something mean but is trying to hide it. You know that laugh, right? That little exhale that says, oh, you poor delusional thing. She goes, yeah, but that's revenue, not profit. After his costs, he's probably only keeping like 40% of that, so it's more like $10,000 a month, which honestly isn't that impressive for the hours he's working. The table goes quiet, like actually silent. I felt my face get so hot, and I remember thinking, why would she do that? Why would she embarrass me in front of people? When we got home, I brought it up. I was hurt. I said, why would you say that in front of everyone? And she apologized. She said, I'm sorry, I was just being realistic. I didn't want people to think you're more successful than you actually are. I was protecting you from embarrassment. And here's the thing. That actually made sense at the time. She was protecting me. She loved me. She didn't want people to overestimate my success. So I believed her. But then it happened again, 3 days later. Same pattern. I'm excited about a new feature we're shipping. I tell her about it. I'm genuinely proud of the work. She asks, but did you validate that people actually want that, or are you just guessing? And that one hit different because I hadn't done formal market research. And she knew it. Then the next week, a potential investor meeting. I'm nervous, but excited. And she says, what's your valuation based on? You know investors are going to push back if it's too high. Don't ask for too much and scare them away. And I start second-guessing myself. My numbers, my confidence. I'm about to pitch an investor and I think about something Emma said about my metrics. So I undersell. I ask for less than I should have. I'm about to launch a feature and I remember her saying, people probably don't want that. And I hesitate. I delay the launch. I second-guess the entire thing. I started second-guessing every single decision. And I started being grateful to her for keeping me grounded, not realizing that she was literally the one making me doubt myself in the first place. If I mentioned a feature I was building, she'd be like, but did you research whether people actually want that, or are you just guessing? If I talked about hiring another developer, she'd go, that seems premature. Are you sure you can afford that? What if the growth slows down? If I got excited about a potential investor meeting, she'd ask, but what's your valuation based on? Are you going to ask for too much and scare them away? Each comment, individually, you could almost convince yourself it's constructive. But together, It forms this whole narrative where I'm making bad decisions, I'm overconfident, and she's the only one being honest with me. And the worst part? I started believing it. I realize now she was chipping away at my foundation, one comment at a time, making me doubt every decision, making me feel like I couldn't trust my own judgment. And the most insidious part of manipulation is this. It doesn't feel like manipulation while it's happening. It feels like someone genuinely trying to help you see reality. I was grateful to her for it. I thought, at least she's honest with me. At least she's not just telling me what I want to hear. But she wasn't being honest. She was being cruel, and I was too close to see it. Okay, so I need to pause here because this is actually important. And I want you to write this down, or remember it if you're in a similar situation. When someone is nice to you early on, your brain literally gets addicted to them. It's a dopamine thing. Your brain rewards you for trusting them. So when someone is also asking about your business and seeming supportive, your brain is convinced you've found your soulmate. But here's what actually matters. Real support is actions, not just words. Real support looks like they celebrate your wins without minimizing them. They help you problem solve, not just listen and then explain why it won't work. They're proud of you when nobody's watching, not just when there's an audience. They don't need you to need them. They actually want you to succeed, even if that means you grow away from them. Fake support, the kind that's actually control wearing a nice outfit, looks like. They listen but then immediately explain why your idea is flawed. They help you but make you feel indebted. They support you in public but undermine you when you're alone. They need you to stay dependent on them. They like you needing their advice. They're only interested in your growth if it doesn't change the power dynamic. Here's the thing. If someone makes you feel small when you're talking about your dreams, they're not your person. Even if they do it gently, even if they frame it as just being realistic, even if they say it's because they love you and want to protect you from disappointment. That's not love. That's control. That's someone trying to keep you small so they stay important. Write this down. Love doesn't undermine. Love doesn't mock. Love doesn't plan your failure while sharing a bed with you. December 2023. I'm at Emma's apartment. She's at work. I need to use her laptop because mine is being weird. I open the browser. I go to find a document she mentioned earlier. And I see a bookmark folder I've never noticed before. It's labeled Projects. Pause. I click on it. There are 15 blog post links. I read the first title, Why My Boyfriend's Startup Will Definitely Fail. My stomach drops, like physically drops. I feel sick. I click on it. The most recent post was published 3 days ago. The title, He Still Thinks He's Going to Hit 50K MRR. Spoiler, he won't. And it's about me. It's unmistakably about me. I start reading. My boyfriend started a SaaS company 2 years ago. He constantly talks about it, plans our entire life around it, and has made it his entire identity. The worst part? His metrics aren't even impressive. I keep reading, and I realize she's been documenting everything. Every fear I shared with her, every goal, every doubt, and she's been publishing it for thousands of people to read. I scroll back. The blog goes back to March 2022. March 2022. That's before we even moved in together. She's been writing about me since the beginning, since before I even knew who she really was. I find a post from June 2022 where she wrote, I give it another year before he realizes this whole thing is a waste of time. September 2022. Today he got excited about hitting 100 customers. It's adorable how little he understands about actual business. And then I find the comment section. Someone writes, have you thought about controlling his finances? Make him dependent on you so he actually listens to you? And Emma responds, I've actually discussed it with a friend, but I'm worried about how it would look if I did that. I don't want to be the villain in this story. She didn't say no. She said she'd considered it, but was worried about her image. My hands are literally shaking. I can't breathe. I think I'm going to throw up. Emma comes home early from work. She takes one look at my face and sees the laptop. For 3 seconds, she doesn't say anything. Then she goes into crisis management mode. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't try to explain. She just says, it's just a blog. It's not serious. And I'm like, you discussed financially abusing me with thousands of people, and you're telling me it's not serious? She tries to explain. She says she was just venting, that it's not that bad, that this wasn't real. But venting to 512 people? That's not venting. That's a campaign. I asked her to leave, not dramatically, just, you need to go. I can't look at you right now. Okay, so this is actually important because this is the playbook that manipulators use when they get caught. First move, they minimize what they did. It's just a blog. It's not serious. You're overreacting. They make the harmful thing seem smaller than it actually is. But here's the thing. Words matter. Words literally shape reality. Second move, they reframe their motivation. They go, I only do this because I love you. I'm just trying to help you see reality. I'm being honest when nobody else is. This is absolutely genius gaslighting because it takes their harmful behavior and repackages it as love. It makes you question whether you're actually the victim or whether you're being ungrateful for their honesty. But here's how you actually know if someone is being honest versus being cruel. Honest people deliver hard truths in private, with kindness, with actual care for how you receive it. They don't publicly mock you. They don't discuss manipulating you with strangers. They don't gain pleasure from your struggle. Emma was building a community around my struggle. She was turning my journey into entertainment. That's not love. That's predatory behavior. That's someone treating your life like content. The person who loves you will never need an audience for their criticism. Real feedback happens in private. Real support happens in private. Public undermining is never about helping you. It's about hurting you and getting validation for it. Is there someone in your life right now who makes you feel small when you talk about your ambitions? Not someone who challenges you or holds you accountable. Someone who consistently makes you feel less than. Someone who disguises their criticism as just being honest. Someone who apologizes smoothly and frames their behavior as love. Because if you're nodding right now, you need to hear what comes next. For the next week, I documented everything. Every post, every comment, every response where she discussed manipulating me. I have 73 screenshots, 73 pieces of evidence that the woman I loved spent 3 years planning my failure. Then I did something that scared me and thrilled me at the same time. I sent it to her HR department, not as revenge, but because her company had ethics policies, and I thought they should know that someone in a leadership position was publicly discussing how to manipulate and control her romantic partner. I also posted about it on my company's Twitter. I didn't name her. I just said, I discovered that someone I trusted spent years telling the world my business would fail while telling me they believed in me. If you're an entrepreneur, protect your inner circle. Here's where it gets interesting. Instead of crushing my business, it actually helped it. Investors reached out. The press covered it. My follower count went from 8,000 to 45,000 in a month. My SaaS hit $60,000 in monthly recurring revenue. I raised a seed round. I had a team of 8 people. Everything Emma said would never happen. Happened. Do I feel bad that she lost her job? No, not really. She spent 3 years planning my failure. She discussed controlling me financially. She built a community around mocking me. What I will say is this. The healing part? That was the actual work. I've done therapy. I still have moments where I doubt my business decisions, and I have to remind myself those doubts aren't mine. They're the ones she planted. But I also know I'm stronger than I thought. My company is thriving. I'm building something real, and here's what I want to say to you. If someone in your life makes you feel small when you talk about your dreams, get out. It doesn't matter how much you love them. It doesn't matter how long you've been together. A person who loves you doesn't need an audience to destroy you. They just believe in you. You deserve that. Thank you for watching. Like this, subscribe, and comment your story, because I want to hear from people who've been through something similar. See you in the next one.